everyone. Welcome back to Chrono Talk. I know it's been a while since I have gotten on here. I just needed to take a little step back for a bit, process some things, breathe, kind of reset. I'm here now and I want to share some more real stories about chronic illness, disabilities, and everything in between. So, today we are definitely not going to shy away from any of that. This is going to be about pain, loss, love, everything in between, and I'm sitting down for one of the most personal and emotional conversations that we are doing yet. So today, the guest is my uncle, Uncle B, and this is someone who is a huge part of my life and who has been a paraplegic, well, my entire life, not his entire life, but my entire life. Next month, he will be choosing MAID. And for those that do not know, MAID is medical assistance in dying. So he's agreed to share a little piece of his story today, some reflections, and what this decision means for him and why he would come to such a decision. So I want to say before we do start, this episode will be talking about death and assisted dying. So this could be hard for many to listen to. So please take care of yourself as you need and as you wish. Uncle B, thank you so much for being here today and for letting me share your story and be a sacred part of sharing your story with the public.
Of course. Thank you, sweetheart.
So, can you share a little bit about the initial journey? So, when you got paralyzed, what that looked like before and after that moment?
Yeah, absolutely. August 22nd, 1995. Grade 12 school registration was the 21st. Ran into a guy I hadn't seen all summer. He's like, "Do you want to come out to my cabin with four girls?" What guy is not going to go with four girls? I mean, it's that simple. So we piled in my car. We drove out to Skeleton Lake. Enjoyed an evening. I had to work back in Edmonton the next morning. We found keys to a trike and a quad, and we went riding. We rode for a few hours, and of course, famous last words: "One last ride." And we went and came out of a tree cut line. We each had a girl on the back of our units. Came out of a tree cut line. He was in the ditch, but about 100 yards ahead of me, and I came out on the gravel road. And as soon as I got onto the street, it was sixth gear, top out, and away you go. 65K an hour, clipping down the gravel road. He moved out of the ditch and came onto the road, so I moved over. I was a little bit I was in the oncoming lane, if you want to say this, but we're on a gravel road. And yeah, I went to pass him, and he cut me off. And just boys fucking around. That's the truth. So I turned to miss, went off a 4-foot embankment, flipped, landed on a foot wide log on my back, and the machine landed right on top of me. 65K to a dead stop times 300 pounds. It's not the most pleasant feeling in the world. Unfortunately, I was conscious through the whole thing. Luckily, the young lady on the back was thrown through the air. It's in the ditch. She never even made it to the tree line, which I don't want to even begin to imagine what would have happened had she had done. But when I opened my eyes, the first words that came out of my mouth was, "Are you okay?" Now, I had done so much internal damage that breathing was next to impossible, and I was in so much pain. She walked around. She said, "I'm fine." I said, "I'll get up," and I went to move and couldn't move my legs. So I said, "I think I'm paralyzed." Somebody driving by saw the commotion, stopped. They ran up, said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I think I'm paralyzed." I laid in the ground, gasping for air for 30 minutes before the ambulance showed up. And they showed up and said, "What's going on?" And I said, "I think I'm paralyzed." And it was the third time that it dawned on me, like, oh shit, we're in trouble here. They put me in the ambulance, cut my favorite jeans off, fucking assholes. Um, but they use this little pinwheel. It's a little handheld wheel that's got pins on it, and they start at your base of your the top of your head, and they're like, "When you no longer feel this, let us know." And we got to the waistline, and that was it. Got to the waistline, and that was it. And so they got me to Boyle Hospital, stabilized me. I gave them my parents' phone number, let them know, tell them what's going on. They got me in the back of Star's helicopter. The last thing I recall seeing was a guy, I thought he looked like ET. It was a Stars helicopter pilot with a helmet on. And I remember seeing the tail rotor spinning of the helicopter, and then that was it. I don't remember nothing from that moment until the next time I opened my eyes. I was lying in the U of A hospital with family, immediate family, couple dear friends. They said, you've been involved in a serious accident, you've done extensive damage, you've broken your spine, blah 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 blah. So 30 some hours later, they performed surgery. Basically, I took my T11, my T12, or T11 L1 vertebrae and crushed my T12 completely. They removed all the bone, cut bone off my hip, reconstructed it, put it in my back, put two rods, four screws in my back. So 2 weeks in ICU. Then they transferred me to the Glen Rose Hospital. Arguably the best rehabilitation hospital. But it's the best rehabilitation hospital because it's built for people with disabilities. So their function, their job is to get you to be able to be self-sufficient. And what their terminology of self-sufficient is, can you transfer, can you poop, can you pee? And that's it. Once you can accomplish those three things and eat, I guess, but once you can accomplish those three things, you're done. Now the world outside's a totally different story. We're not going to get into the long of it. Was not welcomed at the Glen Rose for my whole rehabilitation time. I was asked to leave. Anybody who knows B knows that there's it's with just cause. um, Got out of the hospital, spent 2 years as a raging alcoholic. Suffered massive pressure sore problems. Had to have multiple surgeries within a very short period of time. Um, and yeah, finally, my mom and dad said, "Enough's enough. We've done what we can for you. We can't help you if you're not going to help yourself. Time for you to figure it out and kick me out." Um, Now, some people are going to hear that and think heartless fucking parents kicking out their disabled son. It was the greatest thing they ever did. Um, I couldn't be more grateful for that decision. Spent 3 months on and off the streets. So, you have friends, you're able to couch surf. But welcomes become wearouts, and also you're disabled. So getting in
Right.
and out of houses is not, it's not like these people that are willing to let you sleep on their couch can just leave this disabled guy and whatever. So there's nights that weren't spent under roofs or whatever. And I realized one night that 19 years old that I was going to die if I didn't do something with my life. I was going to end up dying on the streets. So I got a hold of what was called the Canadian Paraplegic Association at the time, and advised them of my history, and they got me government funding. They got me um, subsidized housing, yada yada yada. And I met a guy in a wheelchair, Peter McGregor, never forget him, and kind of became buds. And he kept bugging me, kept saying, "Come try wheelchair basketball." And I was like, "Buddy, fucking wrong guy, bro. Like I hate basketball." Kept bugging me, bugging me, and just so we get straight and listeners know, like, yeah, okay, I was a raging alcoholic, but I was 19. I'm not just gonna quit drinking. I mean,
Yeah.
just quit drinking, raging, quit drinking. So one night we were out having a great time and ended up back at Peter's house, and he bugged me about it again. And I'm like, listen, if I go to a practice, will you shut up and leave me alone? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, fucking done. Let's do this because I don't want to hear it again. Well, little did I know, he invited me to what was under the impression was a 2-day practice. And I didn't know nothing about it. He had arranged for me to show up at a certain time where speeches or any comments from coaches was done prior to, and that was the end. 2 days it was. And on the Sunday, the coach came up and congratulated me. And I said, for what? And I made the 1999 Canada Games team. It was tryouts for a Canada Games team. Now, I was fast, one of the fastest guys in the chair, so it was a no-brainer why they chose me. Shooting maybe wasn't the best at that moment, but, yeah, so I started my career in, wheelchair basketball, in 2005. I was part of the, team that got inducted to the Alberta Hall of Fame, for wheelchair basketball. We were the first and still the only, Canadian team to win the National Wheelchair Basketball Association championship down south, in the States.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good. Unfortunately, like most of my life, anytime I get to the big leagues, um, my health takes a turn for the worse. So unfortunately, I wasn't there for that game, but I was definitely a part of the team that got us there. And
And do you think that's, like, the stress on your body from, like, getting into the hobby itself and playing the basketball and then the stress kinda wore on your body? Like, what do you think kinda leads you to the crash?
um, because I'm Brian McPherson, nothing I do, and as we get into this conversation, nothing I do is done with any concern or well-being. I do
For yourself.
for myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just do. And you know, when you first get paralyzed, you're still, even after a couple of years, I mean, you're cathing, you're pissing yourself, you're shitting yourself. There's just a lot of things that go on with the body. So skin breakdowns were big back then, and part of the problems. I had a, a I want to say a cyst, but some sort of an infection on my leg that prevented me from going for that last game, that championship game. Anyways, we got inducted to the Alberta Hall of Fame again. Basketball was not my thing. So, I mean, to be inducted to the Alberta Hall of Fame was good enough for me. I'm out. Peace. So I
Yeah.
quit. And life, right? I got married at that time, and my focus was work and my girlfriend or wife at the time. Um, um, During that time, I was an auto body painter. So, um, right a week before we got married, my partner Jamie and myself quit the company we worked for and started our own. And O'Grady's Paint and Repair, and that's what we were doing. So for me to be a ball player traveling all the time, it was unfair to Jamie or whatever, and unfair to my wife. So, anyways, so I quit. 2 years, well, not 2 years, but very shortly then thereafter, my wife left me. It was great. Yeah. We From that moment, and then after that time, being with a disability, repainting cars and doing stuff, it just was a tough job. I couldn't appreciate cars anymore, and I was going through a rough time with the divorce. Um, Sorry about that. So, uh, so I sold my shares to Jamie. Um, Took a 3-month hiatus from the world. Traveled through North America. Did some pretty wild things for 3 months.
So let's take a pause. You've traveled a lot, so what was your favorite place you've ever traveled,
Latvia.
and why?
Well, we'll get into why I went to Latvia a little further down the road. Don't want to give everybody
A
the beans.
spoiler.
Yeah. Um, but man, yeah, Europe. But what can I say? North Americans have ruined a lot of things, but we don't understand. In Europe, the word love is still the word love, and it's unconditional. And when you say "I do," that's it. It doesn't matter what you do. Yeah, they have divorce rates, but
Yeah.
it's not like North America. It's not people just give up and walk away. Where I lived in Latvia, we lived in a very, very tiny little village. Um, had a few acres of land, and in order to have a hot shower in the morning, I had to start a fire and
Dang.
wait an hour before you'd have hot water. And that hot water that you've stoked a flame for an hour is only good for 20 minutes, and there's 3 people living in the house. So,
Yeah.
you know, um, you cut wood during the day and made sure there was wood for the days, hit the gym, went and did what I was there for. But It was
Life moves
just a
slower.
beautiful, yeah, it was just
Yeah,
beautiful. It was just a beautiful place, and the two times I lived in Latvia was the greatest times of my life. I
that's awesome.
really there's not an ugly person in Latvia. They're
That's
all
helpful.
they're all attractive, men and female. The birds were even prettier than they're, so Latvia is one of my favorite. Europe is my favorite altogether. I mean, second to Latvia would be Austria.
Awesome.
Just gorgeous. I'm not going to go around and trash other countries.
Yeah,
Norway was a beautiful place as well. Um, but Latvia is where I spend most of my time. If you talk about North America, my favorite city is in Chicago.
cool.
Love Chicago. I think Chicago is one of the most unbelievable cities in North America. Daytona has a special place in my heart, but that's for a totally other reason. And then Canada, it's Ontario.
Yeah.
Man, I'm an Ontario boy through and
We some Ontario peeps here.
yeah,
We live in
man.
Alberta, but we're from Ontario.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I never really went back, I mean, I spent a lot of time, and as we go through the rest of my athletic career, I spent a lot of time east because that's the hub for most sports. But yeah, Ontario's just I don't know, there's some about
Just
Ontario.
different.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
different. I can't shit on Alberta because Alberta gave me the money and gave me what I've done through my life, and I'm very, very grateful for everything I've ever accomplished here. I just, as a cripple living in fucking Alberta, you're dumb.
it's pretty hard.
Like,
Yeah, we
man,
don't make things
we
very
have
accessible here.
no that, but for fucking
Well,
7
we've
months
talked
we've
about
got
you
snow.
traveling too,
Mm,
and you've noticed some really big changes elsewhere, like
that's right.
even how the transitions happen from like concrete, like
That's right.
how sidewalks are built. And so some cities and provinces kind of take more note to it, but then like you said, there could be more money in different provinces as well.
That's right. And I mean Amsterdam, Europe in general.
Right.
I mean, but Amsterdam is one of the most, man, they got their shit together when it
So
comes to
cool.
accessibility, like it was
Yeah.
mind-blowing to me just how their subway system is wheelchair accessible bathrooms on the subway. Like,
Exactly. It's
what the
so cool.
fuck are you talking about,
Yeah.
And it's such a little thing, but for people with disabilities that have these physical ailments that
Yeah.
demand a bathroom now,
Should be a standard.
it should be a standard. And the
Right.
fact that they're doing it not after the fact, but in the
Ahead.
process, it doesn't cost as much. Yes, there is a little bit more of a cost, but that cost is in the long run, they're laughing. So
Totally.
yeah, it was
So you
but
took your 3-month hiatus, you traveled.
I did, yeah, yeah. And I came home. Again, nothing I've ever done in my fucking life has ever been related to being disabled. So I went to the oil patch. I worked on wellheads and valves, refurbishing wellheads and valves for oh God, I'm gonna say 3 years. Once I got back, then decided to move to the Canadian Paraplegic Association. Became a peer program coordinator, helping people with disabilities, coming up with events. Oh God, that's not good at this moment.
It's
Hiccups, eh?
okay.
Whew. Um, helping putting on events, barbecues, so on and so forth for people to come out and enjoy. And it was great. I got to meet some of the most dearest people in my heart. I can't even begin the list, but people with disabilities, and that was great. But it was never me. I'm not an office guy. It's not the way I was built.
Right.
And at the end of the day, whatever my crippled peeps are listening to this, it's true. But fuck, you can only handle so many cripples. I mean, fuck, all we do is bitch about shit. Now, I don't. Personally, I never let an obstacle get in front of me, but it's a lot. It's a lot when you're trying to solve everybody's problems and solve world accessibility problems. It just becomes too much. And I was coming home. I was actually driving to work one morning, and this guy passed me with a skid steer on the back. And I remember looking at it, going, "Fuck me, I've driven one of those before. That's all hand driven." And I thought, what a great job. I wonder what I could do. So I went to service, which was Bobcat, and took my skid steer certificate course, which in hindsight is a fucking joke. But anyways, took the certificate and thought I was there. Oh, I got a certificate. And then I started applying for jobs and I had 8 jobs in 4 days, right until I wheeled through the front door. And then they were like, whoa, 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 blah, 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 blah. And it got really defeating. And then ironically, I was chatting with a buddy and he said, an old friend of ours runs a residential grading company. Maybe you should reach out to him. So I reached out to him and said, hey, bud, this is kind of what I want to do. And he's like, well, you're putting me in a shitty position. He's like, when I hire guys, they're on a shovel and a rake for a year at least. Then I put them into my mini machine. That's 2 to 3 years. Then they get into the big machine. He's like, I can't put you on a shovel or a rake. I can't put you in a mini because they are foot pedaled and hand driven. He says, I literally got to put you in my biggest machine and, handle this curve. Again, we haven't gone into the rest of my athletic abilities, but I advised them of who I was, what I'm capable of, and told them I've never failed anything in my life that I've ever set out. So he said, okay. And I said, tell you what, I'll make you a deal. So if you go back, when I started Auto Body with Jamie, I was on stress leave from a company and I went to visit Jamie at the auto body shop and Kevin, the owner, came by and I was helping Jamie. I was just sanding a bumper or something. And the guy's like, Kevin's like, I'm sorry, have I hired you? I'm like, no, but I'm just here visiting, kind of helping out. He's like, well, I'm looking for a guy. What are you capable of? I'm like, I don't really know. I'm like, but I'm on stress leave for the next 2 weeks. I'll make you a deal. I'll volunteer my time. Don't no pay. I'll come in every day, work 8 hours. But if after the 2 weeks you think I'm of benefit, then hire me. If not, politely tell me to go and we'll call it even. And 2 weeks later, he hired me and I did auto body for 8 years, 7 years. So I did the same with Mike. I said, listen, I work full time. I'll every day I get off work, I'll come straight to you. I'll donate my time. And if after a period of time you say it's not going to work, whatever, then so be it. So I did a month later because I'm only working an hour a day. It's not really a lot of time in the seat. But a month later, Mike hired me. I quit my job. In less than a year, I became a supervisor for the company. And within 3, I was the field supervisor, one of the best operators in this city. Drove my own 1-ton dually, 34-foot flat deck, boomed my own machine, loaded my own machine, undid my own machine. You name it. It was the proudest moment of my life. For 9 years, I ran skid steer. Every day I got in that skid steer, I forgot I was paralyzed. It was amazing. I get in, tuck my wheelchair under my trailer, go to work, and I never thought about my disability for one moment. And it was great. For those 9 years, it was the best time of my life. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Now people will learn what that 9 years got me in the long run. But at the end of the day, I still reverse the clocks. I'll do it all over again.
But that
I
9 years took a pretty huge toll on
Oh, we'll discuss
your
that
body.
for
Yeah.
sure. But then after there, I went back to the oil field and started running excavator. And excavators are huge pieces of equipment. So
Yeah.
using my upper body to get up into them and whatever. But did that for 3, and then due to health reasons, didn't work for a couple of years. I mean, we'll get into all that, sure. But then went to mobility equipment services for just a little over a year, where I was fixing disability equipment. So anything with lifts, chairs, power chairs, anything to do with cripples, I was fixing it. And it was great. Back in the disabled community, though, putting up
Yeah.
with people's anger and bullshit. And I get it, but we can, there's ways to discuss that. But
But this
yeah,
was B's job, like, up until what do we call it,
June,
June? Yeah, so
mid June.
just a few months ago, this was his job all the way up until then, so probably one of the more long-lasting jobs aside from running the excavator
Short,
and
actually. Only a
Sure?
year.
Only a year?
Yeah.
Oh, it feels like you were there for so long.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the thing is, because I've been in the disabled community for so long, everybody knew me, and
True.
so when I came to mobility, now all my peeps are like, "Oh, we've got a guy in a wheelchair working in a shop that will fix things, and I mean, I've been fixing people's shit my whole life, and somebody breaks down, I'm the first one there. It's just the way
Right.
it goes. Whether that's vehicle, whether that's home, whether whatever life. Uncle B has always been that's been who I am. Worry about everybody else first, but yeah, it's been a great life. But nothing replaces running skid steer.
Yeah, that was definitely your pride and joy years.
Right, right.
But we were also watching him throw himself in and out of his dually multiple times a day on top of running the equipment.
Yeah, so on average, a person with a disability will transfer 40 to 60 times a day. That's from the moment they open their eyes to the moment they close their eyes. So a lot of people wouldn't imagine that many. Now I'm saying 40 to 60, some are 20 to 40.
Right.
But 40 to 60 is an average for an active person with a disability. So you got to think like one transfers into the chair, the next transfers onto the toilet, back into the chair, into the shower, back in. So there's all these transfers into cars, whatever. So 40 to 60. My time with Iron Pride, my average was 100 to 160 a day.
Yeah,
So
man, I believe that.
double,
Mhm.
and not typical transfers from straight across. My 1-ton Dodge Ram Crew Cab Dually was a 2.5 foot lift up onto the seat. No devices, no fancy lifts. And then, I mean, I learned after the first 2 years that I mean, wheelchairs are built to be wheelchairs. They're not to be meant to be construction pieces of equipment. So there's a guy named Aaron. He Wheels is what people know him. He designed a wheelchair that he does backflips and shit at the X Games or whatever. So his chair is built to take a shit kick, and it was the greatest chair for what I did. But it's 50 fucking pounds, man. So every time I'm getting in that truck, I'm lifting one handed 50 pounds up to me to get across to my chest and in the back. We couldn't put a lift in the back of the truck because the back of the truck had a fifth wheel hitch. I had a trailer to haul. So I can't put a chair back there. As soon as I turn, crumple. A slip tank, fuel for all my equipment. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I made it work uh, as as best I did, and yeah, it was great. I mean, anybody who knows me in the construction industry knows that I'm one of the best.
And absolutely jacked because of it.
Jacked, yeah,
Jacked.
built like a brick shithouse. I mean, back to the sports. So during, so left ball, did 3 months, and then while I was working, another guy, Ross Norton, 3-time Paralympian basketball player. I played with
Awesome.
Ross for years. Great man, love him to death. But he came to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to go try sledge hockey. Do you want to come?" And I said, "Fuck, what the hell's that?" Sure enough, look it up. Sledge, SLEDGE, hockey, hockey for cripples. Okay. Well, now you're giving me a 5-minute penalty for beating the piss out of somebody and no assault charges. Like, fuck yeah, this is great.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. Yeah. 6 months later, after I started with Sledge, I was recognized by the Canadian Team Canada outfit, and they had a tryouts down here where I made the Team Canada development team. And after 6 months of playing, never played hockey before except for outdoor rinks every so often. Um, so then I started Sledge, and it was the most unbelievable time for those few years. Played for two with the development team. My third year, and by this time I was older, 30, 32, I think, when I started Sledge. You know, I'm going up against 18, 19-year-old double leg amputees, man. Those little fuckers can move. And so my time was coming. There was no doubt that I wasn't going to make it much further. Didn't have the training time. Yeah, many reasons. But we were in Buffalo, New York when I got a phone call from an organization, and they're like, "Is this Brian McPherson?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Is this the same Brian McPherson that climbed 250 feet with no assistance?" So I climbed a mountain back in my day, 250 feet, just using upper body. No disabled equipment, no nothing. And I said, yeah, I am. And they said, we're looking to build a sport, a new sport for people with disabilities. And we're looking for a pilot. And I said, a pilot? And they're like, yeah, we're looking to see if we can make bobsledding a sport for people with disabilities. Didn't really give it much thought other than, yeah, sure, I'll come to give it a shot. So I flew in from Buffalo. It was very shortly after I landed, repacked, and we were gone. Went to Park City, Utah, where I met the designers and safety people and coaches or whatever, and we went through a week training camp, driver training camp, and I was one out of 10 athletes that went from the top, that was able to go from the top because I was a good pilot. I fell in love with the sport. Anything with a motor or speed is my angle. So I quit hockey right then and there. So I became Canada's first disabled bobsled pilot. We started designing the safety for it. First, we started with a two-man bobsled. We put a roll cage in it and some safety harnesses. Realized throughout the years, the next year or two, that we couldn't keep it like that because every time you crash, your roll cage would gouge the corners, and now you're just fucking it for other pilots and whatever. So we designed what is now called the monobob. Um, yeah, started racing, was first for many years. Uh, Health took me out for a season, and the following year, I decided I was going to go back one last year just to see where I was at or whatever. And I ended up being placed third in the world. Um, so I retired with 5 world records, 4 Canadian, and yeah, it was another greatest time of my life. I don't know what it is about Bob. I should have changed my name to Bob. Bob Cat, Bob Sled,
I
but
mean, you already got B. It's like close enough.
yeah,
We can call him Bob.
yeah. So those were my professional sports. Outside of professionally, I water skied, downhill skied, rock climbed, golfed avidly, and quadded. Even to this day, love it.
And skydive.
Skydive, quad. Yeah, there's really nothing I
Yeah,
haven't
you've done
done.
it all.
I
Yeah.
have, yeah, yeah. I've never been disabled up until January, September of last year.
And so speak on that a little bit. Tell us what changed for you in September of last year.
Yeah, I mean, before we get into it, the truth of the matter is I've had 15 surgeries to date over the last 30 years. Again, part of it's from being Brian McPherson and not slowing down and not letting myself have a disability. Um, but I was working for a construction company in 2020. 21, I was loading a skid steer onto a trailer, and I went to fold up the ramps, and those ramps weigh anywhere between 150 to 200 pounds. And I've done it my whole life, but something went in my shoulder, hurt like hell. I went in the doctors, and of course, this is at the height of COVID. So, see the doctor. Doctor says to me, you've been in this chair 29 years or 26 years at that point, I guess, 27, whatever. You got to quit working. Your shoulders are deteriorating, blah, 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 blah. And so I did. I quit working. They put me on long term disability. 2 years later, the insurance company told me I wasn't disabled enough and that I needed to go back to work. Again, during COVID. So they're still doing MRIs, CTs, booked, but not seeing them for years. So that's where I went to Mobility Equipment Services. And September 12th last year, I meet with the surgeons, and I knew that both shoulders were in rough shape, but didn't know to what degree. So I knew they needed surgery. So I come into the room, and this surgeon is the head shoulder surgeon in Alberta. I mean, the guy works on Edmonton Oilers, Edmonton Eskies, like multi-million dollar organizations. I think he knows what he's talking about. And he said, "What's your plan? What is your goal today?" And I said, "I want you to do both shoulders at the same time." I said, "There's 0 point in doing one shoulder because a period of time, which you're about to tell me what that period of time is, but it's a period of time for one arm to heal. What the fuck am I going to do with the one arm? I can't get out of bed anymore. I'm going to need 24/7 care. Well, if you're going to put me under 24/7 care, let's just do both and get them both done at the same fucking time. That way I can rebuild. So the doctor said to me, okay, I respect what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. He says, and I can do the surgery tomorrow. He says, but thanks for the free money. I said, well, what do you mean by that? So then he goes into it. So the right shoulder, my main tendon is snapped and 4 centimeters retracted into my body. So they cannot stretch a tendon past anything torn past 2 centimeters. Mine's 4.5. All the tendons in both arms are torn, and both shoulders have worn out, and the shoulder has dropped out of the sockets on both arms 4 centimeters. And he says, first of all, you can't even comprehend the pain you're going to put yourself through. Like, shoulder surgery is very painful. You're going to do it on two. He says, second of all, mechanical shoulders are not designed to be lifting 180 pounds, 160 pounds every fucking day. Like, they're just not designed that way. And he's like, we will do the surgery. It's a year, but like here, you're a year before you'll ever see a wheelchair. It takes months and months of healing before they even allow you to move the shoulder. Then it's months before lifting slight weights, blah, 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 blah. He says, but then after that year, he says, you're a 65 to 70% chance of dislocating one of those shoulders within 6 months. He says, they're not designed to carry that kind of weight. What you're asking of that shoulder, it's not going to happen. So that was the start of the thought of where I was going. But then during that same meeting, he said, has anybody talked to you about your neck? And I said, no. He says, well, you're here for this. He's like, but I'll tell you, like, your C5, C6, C7 in your neck, you've worn out all your discs. Like, you need surgery on your neck. Like, we need to reconstruct your discs. I'm gonna have to put rods and screws into your neck. Well, if you can't fucking do the shoulders for me to function the way I want, why am I going to allow you to do a surgery on my neck? That makes zero sense to me whatsoever. So he said, that's it. And I said, thank you. And from that moment, I drove straight to my parents' house, September 12th, and said, listen, I'm 47. That's young. To have this kind of problems and to start with surgeries, I'm surgery after surgery. And again, I've been through 15 surgeries in 30 years. The pain that I'm in is unbelievable. And my only option is opioids. And look at our world. Look at our fucking society with opioids. And I said, yeah, this is just not a path I want to go. And I've been a part of the disabled community for 30 fucking years. I've seen it all. I've watched people deteriorate, and that's not how I want to be remembered.
And so did you already know about MAID at this point? Did a doctor suggest it to you? How did the idea of MAID being an option come into play after you found out everything about your shoulders and your neck and not being able to get the reconstructive surgery and recovery?
So MAID came into my life in 2020. So December of 2020. This is a long drawn out story, but the short of it was I went in for a surgery, minor surgery, on December 10th. I was sent home, and 8 days later, it exploded gangrene out of my body. I was rushed to a hospital with all my time ambulance rides. I've never heard a rev limiter hit on an ambulance. Heard it that day. I underwent emergency surgery where I woke up in a special suit, and they told me they couldn't even close me. I was wide open because of how bad the infection was. I went through 3 surgeries in the span of 5 days, and they still hadn't healed the problem, and it was at that point that I was like, "I'm not doing this, man. Like, what are we doing here?" So MAID had come up. Now, I don't know if I'd seen it through my disabled community. If
Right.
somebody had done it prior, actually, there was somebody that done it prior. So maybe that subconsciously, yeah, somehow I just knew
You
it
had some
was
idea
it
that
was an
MAID was an
option that it
option.
was there. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So December 20. So then in 22, they decided they were going to do massive reconstructive surgery on the area that had exploded gangrene. And I mean, that's surgery. That would have been surgery to five. And I'm like, listen, you haven't gotten it right in the last four. The fuck makes you think you're going to get it right on the fifth? And I had had the conversation with my family at that time that if this doesn't go well, that's it. I'm like, they either fix this one and done, or I'm never going to do it again.
Yeah.
Um, they did fix that issue to a degree. And what I mean by a degree, did they fix the issue? Yes, but it comes with added disability issues. Um, and then when it came to the shoulders and just the realization that, I'm just going to be chasing surgery after surgery, pain after pain, whatever after whatever. Uh, it, Enough, man. I've done enough suffering in 30 years and I'm tired, and um, anybody that says that I don't know how to live in pain, you got another thing coming. I've done some shit to this body that people would be like, Jesus Christ. When it's 24/7, that's not a life. And then I can't sleep. I can't function the way I want to. And at the end of the day, it comes down to quality of life. And I don't have a quality of life. Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, we're having this conversation, and people will see me and be like, God, you're built great. You look great. They don't feel the internal. They don't feel that. And,
Exactly. Yeah.
so it just, so that's where it got decided. Now in September, when I told my parents my decision, I didn't do nothing about it. I sat on that decision. Now, again, it was discussed in 20,
Right.
discussed in 22. So made it was already part of my subconscious mind. When I approached my parents, that's when shit got real. So then from September till January, that's all it was. Is this really what I want to do? Is this the best decision I can make?
And tell me a little bit about like what your family and friends have offered you to try to like make you not make this decision and why those things don't work for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a friend or family member. Some people have begged me to go to Turkey. Apparently, in Turkey, they have some of the most amazing doctors, best facilities, yada yada yada. Um, okay, who's paying the 100 grand?
But if someone were to pay for all of this and someone were to offer to care for you and to get you a lift and to
Okay,
do
well,
X,
hold.
Y, and Z, why do those
So
not
there
work?
we go. So everybody's willing to put me into an institution of sorts. Anybody who knows me, the Glen Rose Hospital kicked me out. You think a fucking another institution's gonna hold on to this guy? Ain't happening. Um, Two, I, we're at a point where if I fall out of my wheelchair, I can't get back up into it again. It is a 911 call from this day. From it has been for months.
Right.
I'm not built like that. I'm not built to not be able to take care of myself. Now, for the ones, my friends that are quadriplegics, they're the strongest people I know. I don't know how they do it, but I personally am not built like
Right. So this is a personal decision coming down to not wanting to accept those forms of helps or offers because at the end of the day, you do not want to be cared for by another human, not be able to transfer yourself and not be able to feed yourself and etc. or be put into an institute. Those are just not options that you would like to explore.
not at 47.
Right.
I think the one thing that people don't understand is like I've done this since I was 17 and done it proudly and done it fucking incredibly.
And so
At
that makes you how many years as of this year?
30 years I celebrated.
And so what did your family and friends do for your 30th anniversary?
Yeah, I mean, we threw on the 30th celebration of 30 years. 97, 8, we did it late. I had discussed it a year ago, but it's been a rough year on everybody. It's been a rough year on my family, my friends, and never mind myself. And we haven't even gotten into what I did at 10th throughout this summer. But, you know, a month prior, one of my best friends, Bean Gill, she's in a chair as well, said, "Listen, let's celebrate your 30th, but like, fuck, look at your accomplishments." So we sent out invitations 1 month prior. 97 people showed up. Jesus Christ,
We had a
like
hell
that's
of a party.
fucking epic, you know. But
Yeah,
some of the greatest people of my journey were there, and it was great. That being said, much as I enjoyed it, I didn't realize the mental impact it was going to have on myself
right.
because it was a funeral in a way. And
And so you went through all of your, triumphs and everything that you've accomplished, all these things, but you also had to emotionally deal with seeing people that you haven't seen for, you know,
30
almost
years,
30
yeah,
years. Right.
some 30, some 5 minutes,
Exactly.
But knowing, giving some of these people a hug that I hadn't seen for so long
It's
was
hard.
also the realization that that was a goodbye.
Yeah.
So it, I'm so grateful we did it. It was a beautiful party. Definitely made myself probably a little bit more disabled the next day.
You did. You definitely
It
did.
was a rough recovery,
Yes.
but well worth it in the long run. And again, I got to some of the people that I wouldn't have expected to be there were there.
Yeah.
Um, it
And
was
we also set up the sim racing. So B was really interested in doing some racing via a simulator with some pedals and a wheel, etc. And my fiance actually had built himself his own sim racing setup. So he went ahead and built B one that could be accessible. And so we actually played that there. And you've been doing that for a few months. So kind of share like what that's added to your life.
I mean, this year's been a lot of getting the best. I fucking pisses me off. I get everything right when I'm coming to the end. But anyways, so Connor, I saw his race simulator set up. What the fuck is this? And I begged for it for my birthday, and God bless my friends and family. They all pulled through and got it all together for me. And Forza 5 Motorsport. Now, a lot of people know the name Forza 5, but don't know that Forza 5 Motorsport is real tracks, real simulating driving, not arcade. It's for reals, and you get to drive some of the most amazing supercars. I literally get to test drive all these exotics that I never have had a chance to drive, and it's as real as it gets. So me and Con started racing, and I'm a car guy through and through. Always have been. And the movie Ford versus Ferrari is a mind blowing story. I think I've watched that movie 170
So
some
good.
times. To learn not only what Ford, how Ford became what they became, but Ken Miles and Shelby, Carol Shelby, and just the story's phenomenal. If nobody's seen it, fucking watch it because it is a motivational movie. So during this whole time that me and Connor started racing, I say to him, I'm like, fuck, man, could you imagine doing a 24-hour Le Mans race? Maybe we should gear up for it. And Connor was all about it. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this. So we both made the exact same decision that we were going to race the 1966 Ford GT40. There was no point in racing the Le Mans and anything else in my eyes. The movie was an inspiring movie. I wanted to do it. So Connor and I decided we were going to do it. So finally, so during the anniversary, we were hoping for a third driver, but again, when you're already a racer, when you've already put this amount of time into the game, to invite somebody who doesn't have the hours and the time into it, I mean, I'm a competitive human being. I'm
Right.
third in the world, 5 world records, inducted to the Alberta Hall of Fame. Like, there's nothing I did that I lost in my life. So this was for real, man. I'm doing this, right? And Connor is an equivalent driver. We're almost spitting images of each other when we drive. Connor would honorably say that I'm faster in
Yeah, we all
the long run,
would.
but Connor holds his own. And anyways, we decided, fuck it, we're just going to do the two of us. So we entered the 24-hour Le Mans, and God, what a goddamn day that was. The first 8 hours was the best 8 hours of my life. But under the circumstances, now people don't realize 24 hours I'm racing with one hand on the steering wheel, which has force feedback, and one arm using hand controls to gas and brake and gas and brake. We're talking about a guy who's got two blown shoulders, a fucked neck, and within the last 4 months found out I've got massive carpal tunnel and need surgery in both wrists as well. So right now I need 5 surgeries just to get me to what a doctor would consider normal,
A normal for
a normal
somebody who's
for
in a wheelchair.
exactly.
Right.
So anyways, so 8 hours we raced. I think it was around the 16th hour where I could barely lift my arm anymore. And I told Con, like, I think we're done. And Connor, God bless his heart, was all he would never put me in harm's way. He was all about it. He was like, hey man, it's okay. But fuck me, we'd raced 16 hours. We had 8 hours left to go, and it was heartbreaking. And I didn't want to quit. So we did it. And we pushed. Now, hours 17 through 21, I don't think Connor and I were a fan of each other. Tensions were
Little
rising,
talking.
little talking, exhausted.
Yeah.
It's now at that point it was 7 or 8 in the morning. We're both just been driving for lap after lap after lap.
Did
But
you guys finish the race?
we did. We finished the 24 hour. We crossed the finish line in second due to penalties, came in third. But third out of 24 is amazing.
It is.
It's something that I don't think many people could say they could pull it off. And no cheats, no braking assistance, no throttle assistance, no steering assistance, no rewinds and redos. You fucked up the car, you crippled it to the pit lanes. I mean, there's a lot that goes into a 24-hour Le Mans. People
Right.
don't understand that. The amount of pits, the amount of times you're fueling,
Yeah.
so for us to come in third, fuck yeah, man. Hells yeah. Again, nothing we were gonna do was gonna let us fail, and I sure as hell wasn't. We didn't. We succeeded. I'll take third every day, all day. I wanted to do it again, but I don't think my poor arms could do
Don't
another
think so.
third now.
But
But
you've done some pretty incredible things this year. So you had your 30th party, you did the 24-hour of Le Mans race, you did a whole bunch of stuff with your friends, you went floating on the river, you
tried to
did
kill
all
my
these things.
family. Yeah,
Yes, you
yeah.
did many things, but what did you do for your body, for your health, and for these problems and situations that you would deem like enough? That was your extent of
That's a
trying.
that's a that's a that's a conversation that every human in my life is going to argue.
Right.
They're going to say you didn't do enough.
But I wanna know, what do you think you did, and do you think it
Nothing.
was enough?
There's no point going to physio when you need surgery.
Right.
My physio is every day. I wheel every day. I didn't stop. Like I worked all year. In June, I went up to Fort Nelson, BC, to install disability equipment for a person with a disability. I was in the hotel in the morning. I went to transfer, and my shoulder gave out, and it scared the hell out of me. I couldn't lift. I fell into my chair. It was scary. I had to go to the bathroom. I had no choice. I transferred the other way, and the other arm gave out. And I forced myself to get through it, to work, build everything that I was there to do. Drove home, and the next day I quit instantly because I knew that right then and there was nothing I could do. So my physio was every day because I'm active. I do not accept laziness. I do not accept not doing my own. Now,
So active movement every day
active
is
movement
something
all the
you were
time. Now
on.
they want, people would say, well, stop doing those things. Oh,
Right.
it's not who I am, man. And again, I'm 47. If you'd had this conversation at 65, absolutely not a problem. Because
Mhm.
that to me is reasonable. You're 60, I'm 47. I'm not living the rest of my life like this. Um, I tried transfer boards. It hurts more because it's a whole bunch of sliding and transferring on a board, whereas I can one massive pain, and I'm in my seat.
Right.
You
Did
know,
you try any lifts this year? or any other, like,
Yeah, so
modulalities?
after when I got back from BC, the shoulder was out, and I didn't realize it when I say out, it was dislocated. It
Yeah,
was out of its socket. It went back in, well, it'll be about 2 months ago now,
but you didn't realize
but
until
didn't
it had
realize
gone
at the
back.
time, but yet still working, still pushing
Right.
myself through it. Um, Sorry, I lost
Just
my
the
train of
lift. Did
thought.
you get a
Oh,
lift
yeah,
at all this
so
year?
we went to, my best friends have a hot tub, and it was decided that, they were gonna install a lift to get me into the hot tub so I could work water jets on the shoulder or whatever. That took all my dignity away. Um, ha Having to just get into a sling and then have an electronic device lift me, swing me in, put me into a hot tub. And then even in the hot tub, you're buoyant. And I couldn't move without the shoulder being in excruciating
Right.
pain. But I'm just not built for people that I never have been that guy.
And if you put the mental blockade aside of, pride and wanting to do this and your age, do you think any of the modalities that you have used, such as a lift or transfer board or anything, obviously, so the transfer board was not one that worked, but do you think to any level that any of those worked, that they would allow you any more time or ability to do any of these things?
No, because I crawl into bed and I'm in pain the 24/7. I barely sleep.
Right.
It's pain. No matter what I do, it's pain.
And so throughout this last year, did you use the narcotics? Did you use
Yeah.
any other aids to try to get through?
Yeah, so January 15th is when I had submitted my forms, for MAID. Now, I'll be the first one to say that, MAID is too easily accepted. Um,
Can you explain to us why, in your opinion?
First of all, it was shocking. I thought with our healthcare system, I'm like, well, by submitting my forms, it's probably not gonna, I probably won't hear anything for a few months. This is probably gonna be a couple year process. Uh,
As you would think, because you put in disability forms and it takes
that's
months
right.
on end,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah.
So I had submitted the form. Excuse me. um, a week later, I got the phone call, and I was like, "Holy fuck, that's a little quick." So then you meet with 2 doctors. Now, God bless the 2 doctors. Both doctors, prior to meeting with me, had reviewed my medical file. So now, when I say review my medical file, nobody has that much time. I've told you 15 surgeries in 30 years. To go that far back would be trying for any doctor. They went back to the December of 20 uh, and reviewed my file from there. Um, Both doctors were well aware of how much I've been through, the pain I've been through, and the amount of times I've been in that little hospital complaining about things where it was all documented. So both doctors came in, they see my living, they see what I do, we talk. Um, the first doctor at the end is like, "I truly believe you're a candidate, your reasonings," and again, the pain, and I didn't wanna do opioids.
Right.
So, first doctor approves, then they book a second doctor comes in, we talk, same thing. She reviewed my file, she understood where my body was at, when I explained it from my point of view, she's like, "I get it, but, like, I can't imagine the pain you're in."
So given all the pain, all the proof, all the evidence, why would you believe that it's still too easy?
Um, no, in my case, I don't there was enough documentation, but people, man, there's people in this world right now that because they're going through financial struggles are choosing me.
So you've heard some other cases and where they may not have the same kind of proof or evidence or 15 surgeries to back them, and they're able to almost as easily get it as you were.
That's right. I mean, I've heard horror stories, whether they're true or not, I can't confirm that, because I wasn't in the room.
Right.
But from what I've heard is that, it is not given as an option, but it is lightly suggested from the moment you get it injured. And I mean, Jesus fuck. If you rewind the clocks to 1995 when I got paralyzed, of course I
You
would have
probably would have
taken it.
taken it.
What the
Yeah.
fuck are you talking about? I was a raging alcoholic for 2 goddamn years. I
Right.
mean, fuck yeah, let's end it. That being said, I'm a 3-time national athlete. who's done all these incredible things. I'm so grateful for the life I've had. So to know that there might even be a suggestion of it is devastating, you
And so
know.
does the government pair this suggestion or the medical system, do they pair their suggestion with any sort of mental health help or any other resources?
There is an option for me to see a psychiatrist and do whatever. A psychiatrist is not going to change pain. I don't care who wants to argue that with me. Do I believe mental health can better pain? Absolutely. There's no, I don't know.
But
Uh,
these are all an option and they are not actually ingrained within the MAID
that's right.
program,
It's not.
correct?
It's not a. I never had to see a psychiatrist prior to the approval.
And
Like
do you believe that that's something that should be kinda implemented even if it's just for the
absolutely,
support of mental health
absolutely,
through the
absolutely,
journey, right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
So let's get to the question. So I go through those two doctors. It's approved. It's you're good to go.
right,
Afterwards, you have what's called the 92-day reflection period. You cannot execute your decision for 92 days afterwards. When they told me that, I thought, what a fucking joke. Like 92 days? That's fuck all. It was the roughest 92 days of my life. I can't explain why. I don't know. I think maybe knowing that you're approved, but not being able to do anything about it, maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. It was hell. During that time, so I got approved in February. It was the next at the end of that month or the beginning of March where family members came to me and said, "Listen, we respect your decision. No one in my being is high-fiving me saying this is the best decision you're making, but people respect it."
right.
And they said, "Listen, why don't you just try some drugs? Why don't you use some opioids? Just see what happens."
Yeah.
Don't live the remaining of your years in this much pain. So I agreed. And um, I said, sure. I said, you know what? Why not? So I went to the doctor and they put me on oxycodone. And it took away the core pain. And what I mean by that is the deep, deep internal pain that can never be reached. It took that away. But I was always in pain. It never changed the fact that I was in pain. It just took the core away.
Different kind of pain.
And I was still working. This whole time, I'm still working. Now, that being said, I was off the whole month of February into March because of how much pain I was in. Um, God bless Mobility Equipment Services for being so supportive for my health. But I got on the oxys, things were great. And then Alberta, Canada wide, we ran out of oxys. And I'm freaking. I'm telling the doctor, like, fuck, man, I can't survive without pain meds.
You've gotten
So
accustomed to
now I'm
this.
already an opioid user, which is
Yeah,
what I didn't want. And
right.
they put me on another drug. Now, I don't recall, and it's shitty that we're having this interview right now because this is now the 12th time in a very short period of time people are going to ask, what med were you on? And I can't answer that question. I need to call and find out. But I got put on this other med. Holy fuck, it took me. It took my brain, it took my soul, it took everything I was. I was not me anymore. Um,
If we can get the name of it, I
oh, I
will
will.
link it in the show notes just in case anybody is curious as to what that was. But so after this, you couldn't get your hands on any more oxys, but you obviously did not want to take these medications that were making you feel so unwell. So what did you do?
I quit. So it'll be almost 2 months now. We had an incident as a family that I wasn't healthy at that time. Um, we were coming home from Calgary. It had been a rough day. I was still in excruciating pain. But I watched family look at me during that time, thinking like, "Wow, that's not my Uncle B. That's not my brother. That's not me." And it scared me. It really frightened me, and I'm glad that I am who I am. Uh, how many people do we see on the streets to this day? Opioid users and abusers, and I can understand how you can get there more than ever.
Well, and do you believe that we have the right programs in place to be offering you narcotics, but not the support along with it? Do you think you got enough support with the narcotics?
No, but I don't know whether I gave the medical profession an opportunity either.
To help you?
Because 1, I was against the opioids to begin with.
Right.
2, there was an incident throughout the year where they tried telling me that I was too early on something. I wasn't but was already abusing them when I know I wasn't.
Yeah, you
And
went to go fill it and they wouldn't fill it that day,
they treated me like I was a druggie,
but you weren't
and
abusing
I
them.
wasn't. And there was a fuck up on the doctor's side and a fuck up at the pharmacy, and neither one to this day have ever listened to what I had to say, and I gave up at that moment. The doctor treated me like I was a fucking drug addict, and I was pissed. Like, listen, this was a decision I didn't even want to do.
Right.
I did it. It was kind of working to take the core away. Now you're treating me like an abuser when I'm not. And to this day, I will fight any fucking human being, any professional that wants to argue with me about it. Um, so when they prescribed me this second med, I was just under the understanding that this was an equivalent. I was told that it's actually better and people enjoy it, blah, 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 blah. I didn't realize that it was taking me the way it was until later. And I never went to the doctor again because I didn't want to fucking listen to it. I did. And then what? We're just trying another opioid. It was at that time, it's been during this time that I've realized that I'm doing everything against what I said I wasn't going to do. I said I didn't want to live in pain. I'm living in pain. I said I didn't want to use opioids. I'm using opioids. I didn't want people to see me in a way. People were seeing me in a way. It all just came to a head that drive home from Calgary, and that was that night that I decided, "This is it." I was already in pain. Fuck it, the meds aren't relieved. If it was a complete pain release and I was able to sleep and all that, then maybe I would continue, but it never has been, and it's never going to be. I After 2 meds, I there's gonna be people that are gonna argue this comment with for me. There's thousands of meds. You're chasing opioid after opioid. You're chasing medication after medication. Eventually, medications don't work in the human body when you're taking them all the time. I know that. I've been down this road. I've taken multiple medications throughout my life. I'm not doing this, not at 47. I'm too young to be chasing, and I have an addictive personality. I know who I am. I know where out.
So were you ever addicted to recreational drugs prior?
Absolutely.
And did that give you any concern going forward that because you had this problem in the past with recreational drugs that you would
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So you had a fear of
But
using the
I'm very
narcotics.
proud to say that, there's still some times where you have a recreational night. That is what it is. I'm not a monthly user, a daily user, a weekly user. I'm whenever a situation rises that I feel I'm gonna enjoy a night, then so be it.
Right.
Um, I'm very proud of myself that I recognized, doesn't matter when I recognized that the meds were taking me down this mental path. I quit and I'm back to being who I am. Am I in pain? Yep. Am I in more pain than what I was on the meds? I don't know. Maybe there's the core pains back, but it's still pain no matter how I look at it. But at least I am who I am. At least I get to spend my time with my loved ones now the way I wanted to and not drugged out, drooling, and you know what I mean? Just I was a piece of shit and it sucked. Been a lot during this journey this year that I've learned along this journey that, you every personal experience is gonna be different, but there are things that I've learned that if I could wind the clocks this year and do it again, I would do it way different.
Give me 3 things you would have done differently.
Um, Number 1, I would've whatever my original date would have been my date, and that would have been the end of it. I would never have deviated from that date. Unfortunately, I did. Um The first one was for as a request from family. Um, it's not their dream.
Mhm.
and I should have stuck to my guns. I didn't because I do love and care about the people around me, and I know that this is never going to be a good day for anybody. But on the same token, it hasn't been the best month and a half for everybody either. Um, I booked it a second time, um, and due to legal reasons, I changed my date. Legal just being what am I doing with the condo and getting some things organized. Now that date I was pretty fucking excited about. I had it all planned out in a certain way, and to me, in my eyes, it was flawless.
Yeah.
Changed it, and here we are now. I'm booking it tomorrow,
Yeah.
well, Monday morning. Um, I'm booking it, and there's no deviating from my plan now. And
But the last reason you deviated, I would like to believe is again because of family and because you were a part of my engagement and you've now been invited to my
no,
engagement
no, okay, well,
party.
hold on. The cancellation was literally because of legal. It had
Yes.
nothing to do with family.
But not rebooking it has come
The
back to
rebooking has
family.
come back to family. So what
Right.
happened? So originally it was booked and then extended. So cousins reach out and tell me that they're coming October 4th. Now, in the in the message, it said whether you're here or not. And at the end of the day, this journey isn't just my journey. It's a journey for my whole entire family. So my cousins coming were for the family as well. And I'm God bless them for doing so. But it was like, I haven't seen them since 2007.
Yeah.
Um, it was it so okay, I've put up with this long, what's an extra date?
So you
So
pushed it for
so
them and
so
then
then it's
again.
October 4th. So then we have Thanksgiving.
Right.
Well, fuck. Okay. What a great time to have the immediate family be together and enjoy one last massive meal.
Holiday, yeah.
So we do. Well, then it's your goddamn birthday,
Yes.
and that was an easy decision, but a battle in itself because
Yeah, I like selfishly did not want to turn 25 and lose my uncle and then get engaged at the same
well,
time.
so then rewind the clock. So during this time, you get fucking engaged, and
And you're there.
I was there for the engagement. Connor graciously asked me to be a part of it, and it was the greatest day. I'm glad I got to be there for it, and I couldn't have asked a better young man to be in your life. I love Connor with all my heart. He's more family than some family.
It's true.
He's soul to
It's
me. I
true.
love him, and so then now the engagement party. Now I'll be honest, and tough pills to swallow. I'm a little annoyed because it's just another thing.
Extends it by, another week past the October. Yeah.
Another delay.
But
Now,
this being said, you're not gonna be there for the wedding. We're not
yeah,
gonna get married for years, and
yeah,
so you had to weigh out whether or not you wanted to be there for that last moment again.
again, yeah, but again, we're now down. It never stops.
Yeah, and so now my question would be is, like, what do you think you're gonna do now? Are you gonna book a date and that be it? Or are you forever gonna feel this responsibility
No,
to your family?
no, my responsibility is over. What I'm
And do you think this
doing,
last year helped you kinda get to that point?
mm,
What do you think kinda drove you to the point where you're like, "I love my family and I keep pushing it for them, but now I gotta think about me."
just my quality of life. And the pain I live in, the sleep. I mean, Jesus Christ, I can't even enjoy sex anymore. It hurts too much. And
Right.
like I mean, I get it. People will say, well, fuck, that's not the have all be all. You're right. It's not the have all be all, but it is another part of my life.
And then you're in
God
pain
damn,
all day, you're
I'm in
not
pain all day. I can
sleeping,
barely drive my own van,
can barely
barely
transfer.
transfer, barely take a cook for myself. I can barely lift my kettle for a cup of tea. And like, it
And you
just never.
recently were in the hospital, and why was that?
So I have, due to the reconstructive surgery in 20, they installed what's called a suprapubic catheter. So I have a catheter that comes out of my pubic line 24/7. Um, it plugged and failed and ended up having to go in the hospital. And I've been dealing with this groin since 2015. And yeah, just another reminder of what I go through. And I mean, the one guy, Phil, he's owns mobility equipment services. He's been around people with disabilities 24/7. And he came to me not that long ago and said, I don't know how you've done it. I don't how you've managed this long with just regular life, never mind the pain attitude. He's like, you're a fucking hero, bud.
Right.
Good job. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's not. There's arguments that I could put towards myself about my decision,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, this is my decision, and what I'm not willing to do, and I'm not willing to live like this. I'm like, again, I enjoy my moments with my friends, but I'm in pain the whole time I'm doing it. I'm hiding more than I'm enjoying.
Yes.
And the people that love me can see it in my eyes. The people that know me know that I'm not living the greatest moments. And it's been a battle. It's been a long battle. There is somebody taking care of me right now on the financial end, and it's not great. And I'm done with it. To ask somebody to pay for now, I never have to worry about it. If I wanted to hold out longer, if I thought that I could withstand this pain, but live this life, I wouldn't have never have to worry about it. I could the options are there, but that's not me. It's not who I am. Um, there's a great song from Beverly Hills Cop. A lot of people probably never heard the words before, but it's called Stir It Up. And the chorus says, if I have to beg or borrow, I don't want to live here anymore.
Hmm.
That's where I'm at. If I have to beg and borrow, I don't want to live here anymore. That's as simple as it gets. So, and the pain is just too much. I'm done with all of it. So, anyways, again, it never stops. So, even right now, as I'm talking to you, November 8th is your engagement party. November 22nd is Phil's birthday. December 16th is my sister's birthday. December 25th is Christmas.
Oh
January
yeah, we
1st
could give
is
you a
I
plethora of
can go
reasons.
fucking every goddamn month, every week. There's going to be a fucking
And that's why I asked, what do you think changed, right? And that is just honestly honoring
enough.
your own decision. And
Enough. Enough's
yeah,
enough. Because as much as everybody says, well, fuck, you held out a little longer. Well, why not more? What am I sacrificing in order to do this for everybody? And
yeah,
I've been pushing myself this last week trying to get some things done that I don't need to, but it's just my own opinion. My
yeah,
van, making sure my van's a certain way for the people that are getting it. I want it
yeah,
to look a certain way. The condo, getting rid of things. I mean, people are saying like, I can't believe you're giving enough power to get rid of absolutely everything to who you want to do. Like, why don't you just go? Because I've seen what death brings to families and the arguments and the fights over shit. If I control it while I'm here, you have no one, no, nobody can say shit about it. It's done. It's finished. This is where it's going. So I just this last little stint has actually been great because I'm more prepared than I was for originally before. So I'm actually grateful for it because
yeah.
I'm more prepared than I was a month and a half ago when I had booked it. And so I'm grateful for that. But at times done. Winters are tough on my body.
Yeah, if you stick around for the winter, it's gonna be a hard
It's
winter.
going to be
One of the
worse.
hardest ones the
I've ever
hardest ones
gone
you've ever
through.
gone through.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. And I'm not wanting to do it anymore. And
Yeah.
what it's done to my family. I mean,
I mean, an active grieving process is very different and does not diminish losing somebody overnight and not getting to say goodbye or anything like that, because every process is its own. But I think that, the process of knowing that somebody is going to die is a different grieving process
for
for
sure.
yourself and your family and your friends.
Yeah, there's a part of me. So back to the what would you do different? There is a part of me that wishes I wouldn't have said a word about it. That I would have just gone through the process, enjoyed, and just one day he's gone. Um, Now there's a lot of family, immediate anyways, that don't like that because they would never have had these opportunities.
Yeah, like, I'd heavily disagree because I think we've discussed many times that as much as, like, pain-wise, this is your worst year, I think we've all had hell of a year. Like, we wouldn't have had the year we had if it went differently.
For sure, and we've, I mean, Jesus, this summer, how many dinners at moms and dads,
Yeah,
family events, and family little gatherings, drives together. I mean, going to Vulcan with you and call.
yeah.
There's so many.
And I mean, the party, as much as it was emotionally hard, like, you did kinda get to say goodbye to everybody for the last time
I did.
without maybe realizing it at the time.
Yeah,
You
that's right.
realize it now.
The problem is because now this is going to sound conceited, um, and to the people listening, you need to understand, I built a world around me. My I have touched more lives than most people I've ever known.
Right.
Um, you know, again, 97 people showed up out of hundreds that still to this day message saying, "We're sorry we didn't make it."
Yeah.
Because news has gotten out, eventually, then you can only keep a lid on something for so long, and it is a everyday process, everyday thought. So now that people are starting to find out, well, fuck, man, my door is revolving. If I were to actually say, let's do this and tell the world on any social media platform, I would never get any time with my family.
Yeah.
And I'm being very strict during these last times here where I'm not returning phone calls to people, certain messages. Enough's enough. I cannot devote time to every single person that's ever come into my life when I'm literally saying goodbye to my family. And people will there's a lot of people that don't understand that. And maybe I don't want to say they're selfish, but they
They're
want
thinking about themselves and they want their last visit and their last word for you, and that is completely fair and that's so valid, but I think you've made it pretty clear from the start that those last moments were meant for the
my
family
family.
and the friends who became family in life.
Yeah, and it's crazy because anybody that knows me knows that I've called everybody a best friend. Everybody's been my best friend.
Everybody's bees bestie.
Everybody. And in the last 4 months, I dwindled it down and look at my best friends. They are my true
Your true best
best
friends.
friends. And so when I
I mean,
say,
everyone called you uncle when I was growing up. I was like, "I think not." Like, that's literally my only uncle.
well, I love you. I will honorably say that because of look at okay, so let's just quickly do this. I'm still best friends with guys I grew up with since I was 12 years old. I am 47. Do the math. There's not many people that can say they have friends from 35 years ago.
Totally.
Not we literally had this conversation at the gathering we had just as friends where we were like, "Can you believe this shit? 30 fucking years later
Yeah.
plus we're still best friends."
And some of these people are like our family, and, like, some of the younger slash mid, aged children and stuff, like, they do see you as an
As
uncle.
an
Like, you
uncle,
have really become,
I
like,
have
a pillar in
20
people's
plus
lives.
kids in my life that
Right.
called me Uncle D, and I'm honored to be Uncle B,
Yeah.
there's some of these parents that wish Uncle B was a little cleaner in the mouth and a little less blunt about shit, but at the end of the day, my kids know that Uncle B don't fuck around, but Uncle B fucks around. We get to have some fun, do some shit, and Uncle B won't say nothing about it.
Yeah.
As soon as you cross a line that I feel is wrong, I'll smack you upside the fucking head and tell you you screwed up. It's just the way it is. So it's been an honor. But again, so here's these friends that I've had for so fucking many years. But Brittany, Bean, these two girls, both disabled, came into my life. They're my souls. I love them. They've been great. They're not souls. They're besties. I love you both, Bean and Britt, but they're my besties.
Yeah.
Carla. Uh,
Carla's a soul. Yeah, I can answer that one. Carla and Terry have been a big rock for me.
Carla and Terry came into my life 10 years ago, and god damn it, man. in the past fucking 10 years of my life.
And people can really just, like, turn your whole world upside down in such a good way in such a short period of time, like Bean and
They
Brittany
brought
and
me Sid, Carl and Terry brought me Sid the
yeah,
kid. We traveled the world together. We made family decisions together, whether it be their family or my family.
mhm.
Um, Terry is me with legs, but smarter. The guy doesn't stop, but it's safety. His God, he's just the greatest man I've ever met.
Some of the best people I've ever met, that's for sure.
But Carla is my fucking soul. I've never loved and respected a woman more than I
Mhm.
do her. Um, God,
Yeah, if we talk about Carla forever, guys, we're just gonna cry. So, I think B is very grateful for some of these people he has met over the last, I mean, decade, honestly, like, some of these people have truly just completely changed your life.
well, and so again, I thank you because if we do get on the Carla Terry, that'll never stop.
You know, we love these
Now let's go
people.
to Bean Gill. I mean, on top of all my successes, on top of everything I've done, Bean and I changed the world for people with disabilities. She came into the disabled community 12 years ago, and she wanted to change. She wanted to find people with disabilities and change things. So she started Rayu Paralysis Center, kinesiology for people with disabilities. And I was there with her when she started it. And she built this empire, and anything she ever asked of me, it happened. Whatever Bean wanted, I would do it. And Bean, God bless you, love, she wanted to be a Kardashian so bad. And through her connections, Bean became a public figure years ago. And through her connections, a television producer said, "Let's make a TV show." And Bean gave him my name and asked me to be a part of it. And we for 2 years we were on a national television show
Called
called Push, and we did succeed with things in the show. I think Bean would be the first one to agree with me. It wasn't exactly as we had hoped, and we would have wished for more. But it was a great, amazing time for those 2 years.
and this can be found on CBC Gem, so anybody that wants to go check that out, it's called Push, and there's 2 seasons, and, Brian and Bean are some of the stars of the show, but also some very incredible people, so definitely go check that out, and after you guys did Push, what did you do then?
Just been us.
Just been you guys.
We were besties before the show. We were besties. We've been besties. God, I almost want to say from the moment we met each other, and we met each other at my peer event barbecue. And from that day, we just clicked and we've just been besties. We've traveled the world together as well. We've done some crazy fun times. And I love Bean. I love her with all my heart. She's another, she, no one, you can't have, well, maybe you can have multiple soulmates. To take that away from Carla would be wrong and not right.
Yeah,
But
but, like, Bean's
Bean's my
license
soul.
plate was Beans, and, like, I don't know, there's too many coincidences where I'm like, "Well, she was still put in your life to be
As much
in
as
your
this
life."
might, you know what? I hope Bean, if you hear this, if you hear it while I'm still around, and I've struggled with this comment now for a bit. If I wasn't who I was, if I wasn't who I am, the smartest thing I probably would have ever done would have been to date Bean. I think Bean and I as could have been a power couple that people would have been like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, you probably would've been.
Probably would have been. That being said, grateful we weren't because she's my bestie and a soul and somebody
And an incredible friendship that you
oh,
just
a
never want
friendship that
anything to happen
no.
to.
Same with Brittany. I mean, Brittany's
Yeah.
married and God,
Love Joe. Yeah.
Joe, you beautiful
You get to stay.
I love you. But Brittany, another soul, met
Yeah.
her not even as long. as I've known Bean, but became besties immediately, and her kids love me. And God, man, I just those two girls, I couldn't have asked for
And I
two
wanna
better.
shout out Brittany here too. Brittany actually does a YouTube called Empowered Para, and for anybody who is struggling in their own journey and, you need that guidance, you need that extra knowledge, I highly encourage you to go look at it. I highly encourage you to go to the Rayu Paralysis Recovery Center of Beans if you need that kind of help. These are 2 incredible humans who just want to make a difference in the space and also do incredible public speaking as well.
Yeah, and like both girls are health conscious, take good care of
100%.
themselves. They're incredible. And yeah, I mean, longevity is the one thing about disability that we don't talk about. We just talk about day to day, and longevity is the biggest priorities on those girls' lists. And
100%.
you know, um, I love them for their reasonings about it. I'm just not built for that. I was built to. I mean, Jesus, you can ask me. She was just here last week visiting, and she goes out to get in her car. Her door has got a wow in it, a bend in it. What do you think I did? I grabbed the door with two fucked up shoulders and I bent her back into place. And she's like mad. She's yelling at me as I'm bending the door, a metal door on a car. I'm bending the metal into play. And she's like, God damn it, Brian, stop your shoulders. And I'm like, motherfucker, we're already there. Just let me do me, man. Let me fix this because I can fix it.
We do all get pretty angry. We want him to stop, but this is the man that we love and we know. So I'm going to wrap this up here and we're going to ask a few final questions. So looking back, what are you most proud of?
When as I get closer to the date, it's less about me. I'm proud that I got to be Uncle B and be the friend to so many people that I have. I'm so grateful for all the people that were a part of my journey. That's the proudest thing at the end of the day. Selfishly and personally, I'm proud that I did all those things with my disability. Proudest moment is being Canada's first bobsled pilot. Bobsledding is my proudest, and operating heavy equipment is my second. Third, those are the top three. I don't. There's nothing. There's many other moments of my life that I'm grateful for and proud of, but at the at the end of the day, the just proud to be Uncle B and be the B that everybody knows.
The love, the resilience,
Yeah.
determination. I could come up with a lot of words. So if you were to give a final message to anybody struggling with pain, disability, or loss, what would you say?
To my disabled friends, the number top three lessons. Number one, know, learn, educate about every funding that is available to you.
Yeah.
Because there are grants, there are funds out there that can help you get equipment and have an easier life because the cripple life is so fucking expensive, it's retarded. So that's one. Two, in hindsight, I wish I would have given more time and effort into my home living, meaning not having things on the carpet that I have to wheel around and heavy things to move, having an accessible home. I never did that, never worried about it. Not that my home's inaccessible or
You never adapted though, you never changed
never had
your
to wheel
shower,
it out.
you never
Yeah,
no.
no,
There's
no,
lots of things that we noticed over the years, we're like, "Damn, wish you had it,"
wish I
but
would have. Yep.
I think the pride and the accomplishments, kind of the resilience, the determination, the all of it, I think it trumped everything and it shows. I mean, you've accomplished some incredible things that nobody could really say that they'll accomplish in their lifetime, and especially while being in a chair.
Yeah, the first, but the most important, this is third. And this one, this is number one. Forget your funding, forget your home. But as a person with a disability, doesn't matter. I'm a car guy through and through. I own the Dodge Ram Crew Cab Long Box Dually, a 2007 Audi A4, 1990 Honda Civic hatchback, all these fun little vehicles. But fuck me, own a wheelchair accessible van.
Yeah. Or
If
make it
you
adaptable to you.
if you are climbing, lifting your body in and out of a vehicle just to go to work and back, that's 4 times a day. 4 times a day, you're just mantling a wheelchair and lifting it in an awkward arm position and pulling it in. I I can't tell people enough that, by having the accessible van that I do now, fuck, it takes away so much of the shoulder wear
I
that
think it's a big reason
that
as to why
a
we got another year, that's for sure, and we've talked about
Absolutely,
it.
absolutely. If I didn't have this van, we would have been checked out back in May.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I've known you my whole life, and I've definitely seen a lot of the independence and the strength and the pain and everything kind of in between. And I mean, I can't talk too much. Guys, I'll just cry. But I am really proud of you, and I'm so grateful for you. And I think a lot of people listening might not understand everything in this podcast, but I hope it gives them kind of an insight as to like what your life was like, what your thought process was like, why you would choose something like MAID, and what brought you here to this decision. And so
Just so you know, proudest uncle. Yeah. Proud of you. Love you more than you.
I love you too. I'm so grateful you did this with me today. And thank you for sharing your story with me and with everybody else. And I hope that everybody listening remembers that strength doesn't always look like fighting through everything. Sometimes it does look like making things accessible or adaptable to you, and that's okay. And everybody's journey looks different. But just know that you can have peace and you can have dignity and you can be proud of yourself and you can accomplish a lot in life.
The last thing I just want to you just talked about strength. Not too many people have asked me how much strength it takes to carry out this decision.
Yeah.
And there's something that people will never, for the ones that have lost loved ones to suicide, my heart goes to them, but my heart goes to the ones that that strength, a strength that nobody could ever understand. Because some people would say, no, that's not strength, that's weakness. To take your own life in a non-medical form, what it must take to get there, I can't imagine. I can't. There's been days where I've thought about it. I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna do it this way. By choosing MAID, it's a respectful way to do it,
Yeah.
rather than finding me with my head blown off or
Agree.
sitting at the north bottom of the North Saskatchewan River for some stupid fucking reason.
But with that being said, we do highly encourage people to get the mental health help that they need, to reach out to their loved ones, to make things accessible and adaptable when able, to apply for grants, and to just do what you are able to do. And please reach out if you need to. This is the space. And if you or someone that you love is struggling with the thoughts of death or assisted suicide, please reach out for support because you're not alone. And I hope that this podcast can give you a little bit of comfort. And I honestly thank everybody for listening and for Uncle B for having the strength to come on and share this entire story. So, yeah, with love and grace, thank you guys so much. And thank you, Uncle B.
Well, yeah, thank you.
If you have a story to tell, don't hesitate to reach out because I want this to be as much your space as it is mine. Or if you'd like to hear a topic be discussed, please reach out to me at chronotalk@gmail.com.